Commissioner Jarvis and Commissioner Roy won't be here today for some medical needs, and so we have a quorum. And Vice Chair, I will call today's regular board meeting to order. And Madam Clerk, if you will call the roll, please.
Commissioner Miller.
Here.
Commissioner Schneider.
Here.
Commissioner Warren.
Commissioner Schneider, we can't hear you out here. It's not just me this time.
Can you hear me?
Can you guys hear
Can you hear me?
Yes.
What we need to do is get closer.
Well, they said now, they said, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Commissioner
Yeah,
Tender.
sorry.
Here.
Commissioner Henning.
Here.
Okay, as usual, we will start our meeting with an opening prayer. Niall, if you would do us the honors and a pledge of allegiance.
Father, we join together as the board of the Lapeer County Commission to consider your business, and we ask your guidance as we go through the agenda. Today, that seems not all that important compared to the tragedy that we've had in Oxford that affects people that we know and that are nearby, and certainly has effects well beyond that. We don't know quite why this happened. We know part of the reason is that people fail to recognize that you are God and that you have power and strength and hope for them to use when necessary. We ask that you help all of us to deal with this as reasonable individuals, to find solutions to problems that cause it. We also, knowing that we're coming into the holiday season, for those of us who are Christian, find this very important, the most important event for us at this time. We ask that you help us to find a way that makes this time meaningful and really something that is good in our lives, not just about gifts and the many things that we get caught up with. Help us today, we ask in thy name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Al. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. In front of you, you have the agenda with our significantly large package, and looking for if there's any changes or additions to the agenda, and I would recommend one, which is item number 7, the remainder of the 2021 meeting calendar. As we will only have 2 regular boards left, including this one, to make any alterations to that if we were going to. So.
Okay. Add that to the agenda.
It's number 7 on the different line.
Anything else?
I make that motion to add that to number 7, and I make a motion to move the agenda forward.
Thank you, Rick. Support?
Support.
Thank you, Frank. The agenda's been moved and supported. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. The commissioner's mileage expense sheets, grant applications, some various paperwork, some things to sign for the clerk are going around the dais in front of you. And if you have anything for administration, you can bring it up now or at the conclusion of the meeting. And so now we'll move to elected official department head updates. Are there any elected officials or department heads who would like to give us an update this morning? And we can start with Madam Clerk. Good morning.
Great. I wanted to have an opportunity to let you know that in the circuit court portion of my office, we're going to be undergoing what's called a migration in the case management system. Currently, we have JIS, which is an acronym for Judicial Information Systems, and they're going through they do a lot of reasons behind that. They tell me because of programming and a different platform and so on. So there will be a great many changes that myself and staff will be going through with regard to the case management. The kickoff meeting through the state court happened a week ago, and so we're participating in many Zoom meetings, preparing for this changeover. And so it's staged, happening now, December, January, February, and the go live date for us, it shouldn't affect anybody else, but for us, is gonna be March 7th at this point. So it's a projected kind of metered out change. There will be many changes on our end, but it is where we're at with what they can offer with their system and their case management. So just to let you know, it really shouldn't affect any of you, but just so that you know what's going on in the court office. And then a commercial we have to support the historic courthouse. An event happening this coming Thursday. There are brochures on the back desk, and I have more. Should we like one? We would welcome everybody to join us. Our historic courthouse is really a jewel for not only our county, but in surrounding areas. It's gorgeous. I don't know if you've driven by and seen the front decorations where the poles, I don't know, call them poles, but you know, the front.
Columns.
Thank you, columns. It's a beautiful Greek revival columns wrapped for Christmas. Anyway, I am a part of the committee, as is Dial and Linda and a number of other people, to continue to raise funds to support the restoration. There were huge restoration projects a number of years ago that brought it kind of to the beauty it is, but the age of the building and the ongoing period-specific restorations, so anyway, fundraiser Thursday, love to see
And
it.
what time is that, Thursday?
It is 5:30 to 8:30, and tickets are available on Eventbrite and also in our Parks Department, which is right by my office. So, or you can call me and I can help you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And,
But-
and that as always keeps
You can
me and
keep,
everybody else in line, and
you can keep doing your department head.
then I'll forget again. Unless conclusion of department head, let's approve the minutes from the last meeting. So we'll continue with department head official updates. Department heads or elected officials that would like to update.
Can I just, quick on behalf of Congresswoman McLean?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Good morning, I'm Kathy Burton. I'm Congresswoman McLean's district director. I know you're familiar with Cole Wood, who is our field rep up here, and I believe he attends these meetings regularly. But this morning, he's somewhere else representing, and I said I want to get up here anyhow because I'd like to hit all of the counties and see if you're as happy as I am. I'm to be honest, as a constituent who voted for the Congresswoman, I'm very pleased with how she's been performing, but more importantly, as her district director, I'm up here to find out how you feel about that. So I'm going to stay through the meeting. I will be here at the end. You can look at her voting record. I think that her voting record is delivering on every promise that she made during the election. Her media presence has been very, very consistent in calling out any of the double standards or inconsistencies in the administration, which is what we need, a little more transparency. She reaches across the aisle when necessary. She has taken on the step up in basis issue that would decimate the family farms. And she reached across the aisle to Debbie Stabenow to try to help that situation. And that seems to have been a very effective approach. And I'm very proud of the fact that as a freshman in the minority, she recently had her first bill. It made it through the House and it's been approved by the Senate as well. And now it'll go to the President's office for signature. And it's a substantial bill. It's to present a Congressional Medal of Honor to the 13 fallen soldiers during the Afghanistan withdrawal. I think that's very important. She has another bill in the works. It is a VA tracking bill. It's very hard, and I learned going out and speaking to the veterans that when they put claims in or they have issues, there's no mechanism for them to see where it's at in the process. And it's very bureaucratic, and there's a lot of red tape, and the layers that they have to go through to get an update or even to know where their issue is in the process can be onerous. We get a lot of those calls to our office, and I welcome those calls. That's what we do. We try to help constituents resolve issues. But this would enable veterans to be able to watch their issues as they move through the system. So they would know who to call, and it would streamline their ability to check on the process. There's a lot of bipartisan support on that bill, and I think that just speaks to effectiveness and leadership when we're talking about the Congresswoman, that she's able to reach across the aisle when necessary and to call out wrong as well. So I'm going to be around for the rest of the meeting. If any constituents or you have any comments, I'm more interested in what your thoughts are than filling you with my thoughts. So thank you for a little bit of time.
Thank you. Any other elected officials? Hey, good morning.
Morning, Commissioners. Just want to bring it to your attention that this afternoon, the friend of the court, in conjunction with the bench and the circuit court administrator, the district court administrator, and the clerks, will be putting on a legal update for the local attorneys and their staff as any updates in the law or changes in the way we do business. It's something we normally did, but last year we didn't. Little unusual situation. And this will be the first year that we also are broadcasting it via Zoom so that staff or individuals who can't participate in person will have an opportunity to appear online. So I'm going to bring that to your attention. And other than that, it's business as usual at the front of the court.
What time is that?
That is this afternoon at 3 p.m. Judge Hodges Court.
And is that on our website here for the county or?
I don't believe so. But if people are interested, they can certainly appear in person and pick up the information. There you go.
Thank you. Thank you. And the other elected officials or department heads? Going once, going twice. We will close that, and I will remember what you said, Lynette. We will go back and approve the minutes of November 18th, regular board meeting minutes.
And I'll make that motion to move that. I'm sorry, I should have done both at the same time.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and supported. Any other discussion or comments on those? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Thank you, Lynette. And now we'll move to public time. If there's any public that wishes to address the board, this is your opportunity to do so. Please try to keep your comments to 3 minutes. And we will also have a second public time at the end of the meeting. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Alan Pierce. I've come before the board before. I'm just coming before the board today just to let you know that one of the major businesses in Lapeer has decided to take heart to all of these mandates and force their people to either get vaccinated or weekly take a COVID test that the employee pays for at $100 a pop. Most employees that work where I work, $250 to $300 a week is what they take home, because this industry does not believe in full-time people. So that's what most of us make. That's what we're faced. We were also told that if we have the shot or not, if we don't have the shot, we have to wear a mask, which is very discriminatory. And I have challenged the company with a discriminatory letter. And that was last Friday. And I have not heard back from them yet. So I'm not working currently until they answer that discriminatory letter. So you may or may not have other people who turn to people like you when they have problems that live in your districts. And that's what it's all about right now. So.
We started this already, you said?
Yes, sir. They sure have. They started it the day after Thanksgiving. Go figure. Okay. And so just let you know that may be coming down your pathway to maybe have to deal with some people that live in your districts. You know, because there are a lot of people that are highly upset. There are several people who outright quit on Friday, and they are seeking other employment. Now, as of 2 weeks ago, the Fifth Circuit Court, if anybody is not aware, made that mandate totally illegal, and said there is no precedence under the Constitution for it. So that's how I'm fighting my company. So, just wanted you to be aware in case somebody else comes to you, and you'll have at least an idea of somebody doing it.
We don't respond, but at this particular time, I think we need to answer to, did they give you guys any warning other than Friday?
No. As a matter of fact, I went to work, logged in at 4 o'clock, and at 4:25, I was approached, and the manager said, "Are you vaccinated?" And I said, "No, and I'm not going to be," because I thought they were going to say, "We've got the vaccination available to you over at the pharmacy," like they have in the past. And when I said no, that manager said, "You must wear a mask." And I said, I'm not wearing a mask. It is bad for my health. I went through this before. I'm not going through it again. And they said, "Well, you're going to have to go."
Appreciate that.
Okay?
Anyone else for public time?
First of all, I'd like to say we stand behind you, Mr. Pierce. We stand in front of you too. And one thing that I have that I'd like to, Carol Wynn, Marathon Township. I came up with a petition a few weeks ago that it's an election petition to the County Board of Commissioners to ask that you address some issues with the elections. And I'm not going to give them to you yet. I'm separating them by district, so you know the people that signed them in your district. And let me tell you, they could not, it's been busy lately, so myself, Anna has some, we have not been able to get out there, but we're going to be getting out there again. People are begging to sign these. So don't tell me that there's not people that believe that there's, things have went, call it what you want, things have went wrong in the elections. So when we get these together, we will be presenting them to you. I actually have two people that went to Florida that said they're Michigan residents. They're in, I believe, Dial's district. And they said, have you handed them to them? And I'm like, not yet, but I will be. So there's just so much going on. And with all the evil that is going on right now, it's like, watch this hand, watch this hand, watch this hand. That is why evil is happening. They want to take us, just the prayer this morning, they want to take our hearts and minds off the good. This is the month of Christmas, where we celebrate life. We celebrate the life that was given to us as an example. And another flag for you, because I love flags. Appeal to heaven. I don't know if you know about this flag, but please read about it. It was used on the battlefield.
Yeah.
It means so much. And at this time of all times, this is what we need to do. And I know we all are. I mean, those of us who believe. But it means so much. And with everything going on in the state of Michigan and our counties that surround us, I just hope that everyone will take note of that. Again, there's just so much going on, and I just hope that we don't take our eyes, that over there doesn't take our eyes off the good that we know we should do. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes. This morning I come in support of a resolution that was voted on 2 weeks ago and sadly was voted down.
Warren brought up a resolution to have Lapeer County, as well as the state of Michigan, in general, have a forensic audit take place. Now, I don't know how many people know of the great amount of detail that goes into a forensic audit and the great amount of evil that went on in the 2020 election. I would first like to hand these articles off to Mr. Warren because he's a trooper. He's a true patriot, freedom fighter. He believes, or he wouldn't have been able to write that up. Here, I have 5 separate solicitations through either Secretary of State, maybe Gretchen's office, post office, to get me to vote in the 2020 election. I've never had somebody ask me to vote. Everybody knows when the election is. Get out and vote. And these are also information cards that you can give to anyone about the pressure that's going right now in this state to overturn this crap that happened. Those are websites, everything, everywhere. And as far as the masks, everybody knows here how I feel about masks. I've handed out booklets and vaccines as well. You've got a new variant, Omicron, whatever it's called. And they'll have another one with another name 4 months down the road. And guess what? Their vaccine will be just as good as that one as with this one. Go get another shot. Go get another shot. This is a scam. And it's global. It's not just Michigan, just the United States. It's global. They want to control you with that mask. They want to control you with that shot. That's all it's about, taking control. And I'll shut my mouth now and go sit down. But thank you for allowing me to speak. Thank you, Rick.
Anyone else for public time? Okay, we'll close public time and we'll do one at the end of the meeting. And we'll move on to the agenda. Page 2, notice of appointments as needed.
Report on a couple. The Agricultural Preservation Board, I've not heard back from Mary Brown, who's checking with me. But hope to have that at the next meeting. Also checked with Mike Hemmingson and Rick Van Hatten about GLS Region 5 planning. Rick indicated that he would be willing to go for another term. And I talked to Mike, and he finally said he would be willing to go for another term if the board wants him, but he indicated that he was troubled by some of the things that were being funded by Region 5, and that he might make some waves. And when I assured him that we didn't care if he wanted to make waves, if it was justified, he indicated he would continue. So if the board's uncomfortable with him doing that in Region 5, they probably shouldn't approve him. But if you are comfortable, I would nominate him as well as Rick Van Hatten for another term. I'll support that.
Okay, is that a nomination or is that a motion?
Nomination with a motion, we can do it that way.
Okay. So you do a motion to reappoint both of them?
Correct.
And, cast a unanimous ballot? And that's a support?
Yes.
Okay. Motion, do you have any other discussion?
I'm assuming then that we're okay if they make some waves.
Well, yeah, I don't know if you've had a conversation with Gary, because I know that he's intimately involved with that group, but I think the rest of us respect the individuals that we have appointed and recognize that that's their role. Any other comments?
I think it's great that people have a voice. So let's give something.
Okay, so we'll vote on that motion.
I
All
can't hear back here. Can you guys all speak up?
all in favor, say aye.
Thank you.
I,
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Dial, any other ones on this one before anybody else want to pick up? I will mention under the listing of Brownfield Redevelopment Authority, and under the Economic Development Corporation. Both of those are performed through our Lapeer Development Corporation. All of those members are currently in good standing, and again, that organization serves us in that role, and so I will move to reappoint all of the listed individuals for another 3-year term for Brownfield and for Economic Development Corporation.
Support.
Have we got confirmation from that board?
I'm on that board, and so is Quinn.
Okay, I just want to make sure that all those people are actually, because it's a 6-year term, so it's a long term.
Yeah. Yeah, and what ends up happening is during that period of time, if someone leaves from the LDC, then the LDC, when they make a new reappointment, that information gets to the guys and we bring it up individually at that time. Okay, we have a motion support on those individuals. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Yeah, I actually had a quick question for Lynette, I do believe, you run the appointments, so I see there's a vacancy on the VAAA Executive Board twice. There's the one that was mentioned from 2020 and then one from 2021. Is that the same position, just marked
Yes.
up? Okay, just want to make sure, because I was like, I don't
The
remember.
upper one is a tracking keeper, so if you find somebody interim, this is the official
Gotcha.
notice.
Okay, so there's not actually 2 vacancies, just one. Okay, thanks. Yeah. That's all. Still have a thing for that guy. But there's an open invitation to anybody who wants to be on VAAA. Let me know. We need people. That'd be old. 65, do you believe?
65, I think it's 65.
Yeah, I think it's 65. So have to be 65. They have meetings in Flint, usually the last Friday of the month.
Clarification,
Clarification.
there is a vacancy on the board of directors and a vacancy on the advisory council.
Oh, you're right. Thank you. Yeah, so there's a vacancy on the board of directors and one on the advisory council that advises the board of directors.
So there
if
are-
anyone's interested in senior issues, please let me know.
So this one for the Veterans Affairs Committee. Timothy Spencer, do you know if he wishes to continue?
I'm sure he does. I don't know for sure, but I'm sure we.
Well, we still have at least 2 meetings left before the end of the year. We could do this during committee of the whole as well as full board, correct?
It'll be confirmed at the following full board, but yes.
So,
But can we add him at that time too and confirm it? What are you saying? You're trying to say if we move, find out for sure.
Yeah.
Can you check with him and see if he?
Yeah, I'll see you tonight.
Okay.
Appreciate
Just
that.
let us know if he wants to continue. Reappoint him to. And then, so we have this building authority for Walt.
Yes.
Do you want me to reach out to Walt after our meeting and find out if he wants to?
Yeah, Kenya, that's I don't think that's a very active advisory, but yeah, if you can find out from Walt on that too, that the activity has been on that. And if he's willing to, I appreciate that, thank you.
And one more question on the VAAA so that people understand, because you tell them to go to Flint, but that covers how many counties? Do you
Oh, yeah. VAAA covers Lapeer, Genesee, and Shiawassee counties, and you are reimbursed for your travel to the county meetings. And they are doing it virtually as well.
So it's the seniors communicating in those counties.
That's it. If you have any more questions, I can give you a whole packet.
Yeah, I think we ran through everything before, so now, any other comments? So we'll pick this back up next week.
Ag Preservation Board, do we have anybody on that? Do you want to?
Yeah, we're checking at this point, see if they'll continue.
Just another notice, it's not in this packet, but each commissioner has an appointment to the local senior board. So be thinking about what you want to do for the next year. That's not a board election, that's an individual appointment by each commissioner.
I do have one quick question on that actually, because I know District 7 has an opening, which I think still exists. And Emily City Center has an opening where they kind of make the appointment. But then there's another one that says member. Who is that? Is that a general board appointment or is that something else?
Let me get there.
Sorry, I don't mean to drag out that, but since you mentioned it, I figured I'd bring it up.
Each commissioner district has an appointment by the commissioner. Emily City Center has a representative, the Lapeer Center has a representative. There's 2 members at large.
Okay, so is one of our members at large currently vacant?
I believe so.
Okay.
And then the center's representative hasn't been nominated by the center, so we don't know if they're active or not.
Okay.
That's why that is.
So I'm assuming there's probably an age requirement on that one as well?
I don't believe so.
I don't know.
No, VAAA just has it because that's in their bylaws, but I don't believe there's a age number, age limit, one way or another on the board.
And the senior programs advisory board, are they currently meeting? Do you know?
Rick, are you on that?
I'm on
still?
it. Linda Jarvis and I are on that, yeah. So we're meeting, we're having a tough time getting a quorum. That's, need more participation, yes.
Where are those meetings held?
Right across the street, across the street from the VA, the same building. Generally, once in a while, they'll be at the end of the city, but majority of the time, they're right across the street.
I see Paul Walker, could you get us some kind of listing of recent attendance? I know there's a period of time where people weren't, the committee wasn't meeting. Since it started, could you get us any indication of attendance?
Yeah.
Who's attending? Thank you.
You just have to keep in mind that will be somewhat skewed because of COVID, the recent information we're not going to know about.
Right.
And my bad, I admit, in public, it's been, those terms end with your terms. So you do have a full year, but you still need a couple of representatives.
For that. Currently, we need a couple.
But if we got people that aren't attending, I guess that's my concern. It'd be good to know that.
Yeah, if you
Good
get-
refresher.
Yeah, if you could email out like the area you're looking for, don't they have to be in certain areas too, Paul?
Yes.
Yeah, so if you can let us know what areas we need to fill, we try to work on that.
So Quinn, if you can mention to Doreen, just to make sure that this is on next week's committee of the whole as well, just the ongoing list of vacant appointments. And then this way we'll also have one more opportunity, one more full board still in the calendar year.
Will do.
Thanks. Okay. And through that, we'll move on to item number 2, district court, our specialty court. Yes, we do. Morning.
Good morning.
So we've got 2 grants, mental health court and drug court. You want to take those individually or?
Well, do you have any questions? I mean, nothing has really changed. Everything's been.
First question, yeah.
Nothing has changed. The numbers are starting to go back up for the specialty courts, with the new prosecutors. They want to participate with this.
That's great.
I originally came from St. Clair County years ago, and the specialty court up there does wonderful, and I would love to see our specialty court take that. I believe we need it here. If what just happened in Oxford doesn't show that more, then I don't know what would.
I think you'll historically see the board has been very supportive of the court's direction in that role. And we've had some good over the years. We've had some good testimonials come forward as well, so.
Yeah, so.
Yes, I make the motion to move both A and B.
Support. Okay.
I do have a question. In the packet, there appeared to be 3 of each grant. Are those copies different? The face cover looks identical.
Should be the same, I apologize. Dawn, who is she handles the specialty course for us, for me, and she prepared these. She just doesn't like to speak in front of you guys. I can't make it.
Because you indicated 3 needed to be signed.
And I know these have to be signed electronically. I know that, and my understanding is, Mr. Bishop, you can sign these for us?
I can.
Okay, so, I believe
So they're really
it
only-
would just be, yes,
Two concrete agreements.
yes, one for each specialty court.
Right. And the amounts have not changed significantly?
No, not significantly. They did go, I know this year, I believe they stayed basically the same. Last year, they went down a little bit, and I'm assuming because our numbers, we don't need the funding when we don't have it. So now the numbers are starting to go up a little, and I'm hoping to see it keep going up.
You've no doubt read these contracts.
Yes,
Understand them
yes,
better
yes.
than we do.
Well,
Any?
I hope I understand them, but
Any significant change in language or expectations?
no, everything remains the same in the contract. It's just the funding. That's the only thing they look at. Then they look at our numbers to see, but the contract remains the exact same. I actually did question because some of our staff they attend, the conferences every year, and it comes out of our own pocket. And in here it indicates it will cover, so I questioned that, said, why are we not putting in for this? You go every year, you stay up to date, and Dawn does a wonderful job for these programs, and she stays up to date on everything. And she said, well, we have to put in and request, and so yes, I made sure I went through it. Thank you. Any other questions?
Okay, we have a motion and support on the floor. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 3, Health Department. Kathy, we've got a whole list of approvals or acceptances. So I guess we'll take, Todd, you're up first, I guess, with A, approval of the letter of agreement with Region 10 for the overdose education and naloxone distribution.
That's correct. This is a grant continuation from the last couple of years. I believe the numbers the cost or the reimbursement has went down a little bit. And that is because we can get the naloxone kits now free from the state versus purchasing and getting reimbursed. But everything else is.
Contract language.
Contract language is the same.
Basically.
Yep. I'll move it. 3A.
3A's been moved
Support.
and supported. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next, we have acceptance of the 2021 round 2 VAAA contract. Paul's gonna take that one.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
We received round 2 after the close of the fiscal year, so it's nothing more than money coming into the program. So,
Comparison to the previous year,
we received, in round 2, we received an additional $14,595, split between the 2 meal nutrition programs, most of it in congregate, but we overserved our contract numbers in congregate meals and home delivery meals. So this will just offset what we overspent on with the village. So.
And I make a motion to move that.
Support.
all right, so 3B has been moved and supported. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. 3C is approval of the VAAA premium pay for qualifying employees.
I move it.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion, Tom?
A little understanding, this money is coming from VAAA,
It's coming from the state.
from the state, through VAAA.
Yeah.
So it could be federal money too, but it's.
Yes.
And it's ongoing until a period we don't know when they stop it.
Correct.
It's probably, this is something that we will be paying and they will be reimbursing us for
Yes.
traditionally.
That's correct.
Okay. 3C's been discussed, moved and supported. Any discussion further? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. 3D is acceptance of the 2022 AAA contract.
I move it.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Kathy, you want to address any changes that they
Nope,
made between
just,
20 and 21?
Paul can give you that.
Okay.
I just wanted to let you know that this particular one, they want electronically signed, and they sent me another electronic signature thing to my email addressed to Gary this morning. Do you want me to forward that to you? Or do I send that to Gary?
What is it that?
The other ones, they gave us paper signatures. This one, they're insisting on having it electronic.
Is that one got the deadline on it?
By next week. They wanted it a week ago,
Send it
but
to me.
they wanted it the day they sent me the actual
Send it to me.
contract.
I'll take care of it. Send it to me, I'll take care of it.
Okay.
So it doesn't have to be signed by Gary, it can be signed by the vice chair.
Right. But not knowing Gary wasn't gonna be here, I told them to address it to Gary. Yeah, so.
Any, again, I'll ask, any significant contract changes?
Overall, we are receiving $14,528 more. The greatest amount in home delivered meals at $77.52, and then $67.55 in the in-home program, $2,100 less than the rest of the program. So it's fairly standard, a little bit more than sure.
We always have the issue of moving some of the money from accounts, one account to another. Do we have at this point any of the programs that are not, we're not up to service levels on? In other words, we have a waiting list for it?
We have a waiting list for the in-home programs, which is personal care, homemaking, and respite. And that's due to the fact that we're having a heck of a time hiring aides.
Staffing's been tough all over.
Especially with aides. Aides are hard to come by.
Any other questions on the contract? Hearing none, we have a motion to support, right?
Yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. And the last one, 3E, is acceptance of 21-22 Eagle grant application. Morning, sir.
Morning.
Good, how are you?
Good. Do you have any questions regarding the contract?
Yeah, again, the same standard one we've asked, any difference between?
No, much boilerplate stuff year to year. This contract, the federal amount will change a little bit, the state will change a little bit, but total is usually within a few $100s year to year, sometimes maybe $1,500, but it's right in line where it has been the last few years.
Okay.
I'll make that motion to move.
Supported, and our controller,
Steve, I'm looking over the grant. In section I, it discusses cybersecurity. Is that boilerplate language that they've included before?
I believe so, yes.
So just so you know, so out of section cybersecurity part B, EPA must ensure that any connections between the recipient's network and information system transfer data under this agreement are secure. So Mike Bartley handles our software side, networking side.
Yep.
So we probably should schedule something with CNET and also Mike Bartley to ensure. He'll be here December 6th.
Okay.
So just to make sure
Just to
that's
make
up to
sure.
snuff. I know that we've had
Yep.
a couple different changes with technology.
Sure. Great idea.
Mhm.
Yeah.
thanks for picking up on that, Quentin.
You would still say that the state, federal government are underfunding your services?
This one for sure. This is our type 2, our non-community program. And in fact, our directors forum just did a survey, and there's a real push right now, and they've got the ear of Eagle to maybe address some of these funding issues. This one, grossly underfunded. Yes.
As predicted, that was several years ago, we knew that was gonna be building.
Yeah, and they compared numbers from 2015 to 2020, because that's when revised total coliform started in 2016. So those numbers there and the added man hours and everything going into that program over the last 5 years, and the funding's still the same, so, yeah.
Are our legislators aware of that?
I sure hope so.
Have you chatted with them or emailed them to?
Not regarding this. It's been an age-old problem, so I sure hope they are. And I think that,
The state has been in contact.
yeah, and I think the push now is different than I've seen before. And it sounds like they're willing to listen, so.
How much, we don't know, but it does sound like it's positive, heading in the right direction.
Any other discussion on the acceptance of the Eagle agreement? Hearing none, we have a motion and support on this one. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Agenda item number 4, Sheriff's Department approval to distribute the 2022 police service contracts to local jurisdictions. You all have copied, a chance to review those that were sent to you electronically. I know it was a lot of read, makes your eyes blurry. The sheriff and his crew obviously have their hands full. Quentin, just for the board's last check box before we go ahead and send that out. You've clearly had discussion with him. You guys reviewed the financials and helped put together financials. Anything else we need to know about that?
No, and just for the record, Under Sheriff Howe and I had met one-on-one. We spent extensive time going over line by line of each contract, just making sure the numbers were appropriate, the villages and townships who receive our services were named properly. That was a very smooth conversation, backed up with the due diligence and finance to make sure that our numbers that are matched in here match what's in the database. And so that checked out okay. Susan Baldwin, also at the sheriff's, also has done the same. So from a due diligence standpoint, we're good to go.
On behalf of the sheriff who's not here, I'm sure he's very appreciative of that because that makes their whole relationship a little bit easier. And from the county perspective, again, it's a partnership with our important local government. So we appreciate all the work behind that, and Jackie as well. We know it's a lot of number intensive. Those numbers mean a lot, especially to local governments, because that's a significant portion of their funding.
I make a motion to move those. Keep in mind, like everything, our sheriffs, everybody's getting kind of short staffed, so things are starting to get tough in these things, but these contracts have to be done so we can move forward. So, support.
A reminder to the board, this motion is just to go ahead and approve what we now see on black and white, to send it out, have those reviewed by the townships, and once those get signed, we come back to us again a second time for final approval.
I do have a minor question on the contract for Clifford.
The heading?
Well, I guess the difference was on Clifford's, we indicate the right number of hours. We never talk about a half-time deputy as we do in the other half-time contract.
Mm-hmm.
I wondered if did that have any significance? Are we, in other words, are we doing it any differently than assigning a half-time deputy?
No, Under Sheriff Howe indicated this was a status quo.
We didn't change it. I don't know why they're different, but they have been different since.
Okay, I don't know if you want to have them make that consistent or not.
Right.
May not be important, especially since the hours and the
Right.
money is correct, but it was a little bit bigger, and I wondered if it meant changing how it was being done.
Yeah, that one's always been a bit of a troubled spot, trying to keep Clifford on all that is the budget. So speaking of which, I just had a quick question. I don't know if you'll have the answer for this or not, Quinn. Were there any other townships that almost agreed to a contract or were in discussions for the contract? And then 2, how many more open slots do we have for townships?
The answer to the first question is no. There's nothing pending. There's nothing in the pipeline. There's nobody who's come to the table and said, let's discuss. So what was presented, again, was status quo. The second piece, as far as slots, do you mean vacant positions that aren't budgeted?
Yeah, that we leave open for this.
I don't believe anything. I think the only thing that's available right now is a clerk's position. That's been left vacant, excuse me, because at one time corrections had, I believe, up to 4 in that office. They're down to 2, but that's the only vacancy that's on the sheriff's department side, if I'm correct in that.
Right.
There's no, road deputies are fully slated. Command is fully slated. Corrections, the only difference is that they have 2 vacancies, but they're unbudgeted.
Yeah.
So that's really only vacancies if something were to move.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Steel trap.
Okay, I'll pass.
Any other discussion on that? We have a motion support on this one, so all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Number 5, Veterans Affairs. That's a budget amendment. Looks like it's straightforward, Jackie.
Yes.
It's just taking $5,000 from the millage to Veterans Relief line item.
Make the motion to move that.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Number 6 is the county clerk, approval of the revised schedule of fees. Teresa?
Thank you. Just to give a little background, we discussed this at our budget hearings earlier in the year, looking at revising the schedule, and then we went into research mode to see which ones of these we could actually affect. As you can see from the list, there's very few because we're governed statutorily on fees. But I would point to the 2 items that we are able to adjust, and that would be on certified copies of the first floor. These are all for the first floor, by the way, because we definitely are under statutory rules with the court charges as far as filing fees and so on. So this would be in the vital records first floor department. And again, I point to the certified copies. We discussed this at length at our budget hearings. For many years, that rate had been at 10 and 3. And we decided that it would be fair to our customers, our citizens, and also to our budgeting process to move that to 15 and 5. There were, across the state, there are whole ranges of different charges. We always look to other counties to try to, understand population, charges, and so on. So we believe that we can live with this slight increase. We think it's fair to the citizens and fair to our staff as well. This other point that we could, or item we could actually adjust was down the page, marriage license waiver fee. If a filing applicant comes in and wants to waive the 3-day waiting period and have their marriage license created immediately, that puts all of our other work aside. And then we go into preparation of that, we review the application, we have to prepare their license, and then it goes through like 4 stages of proofreading. So there's a lot of immediate intensity for that. So we felt that that rate at 50 would be fair, because that would meet customers' need, and it would also accommodate us putting all of our other work aside. So those are the only two areas we are able to ask for a revised schedule. And again, I think it's pretty straightforward. I think it's fair from our standpoint and also to the citizens that we serve.
Appreciate your timely follow-up on that from the budget.
Okay, thank you.
I'll move support for those changes.
I'll support them.
Been moved and supported.
2 quick questions, or 3 quick questions actually. First, I'm just curious, how common is a waiver, marriage license waiver?
Lately, not as common as when we had a lot of folks that were moving about and so on. So, if I just off the hip would say maybe 2 or 3 times a year, maybe.
And then the other thing I had a question about is regular copies is set at a statutory rate.
That models what's on the second floor.
Really? That's interesting. I always find that for everybody interested, it's $1. The other question I had is, so certified copies, can you, one, give me an example of what a certified copy would be? I think I have an idea, but I want to make sure.
Oh, sure.
And then the second thing I'm just curious about is, and this might not be a fair question, but in regards to neighboring, so like Genesee County, Tuscola, Oakland, and St. Clair, do you know what they charge for certified copies?
To answer your first question, certified copies would be of our vital records, birth, death, marriage, those kinds of vital records. So at this schedule, that first certified copy would be 15. Additional of the same record is $5 each. So that's the type of record. And again, in our office, death records, for instance, are open to anybody that applies. Birth records are not. So it takes a level of oversight on my staff's part to know what can be released and reviewing who can have the certain records. So that answers the type. The only one off the top of my head I know I can tell you is Sanilac County, for instance. They're 25 and 10.
Oh, okay.
But on our manual, our county directory, there's a page in there that talks about all of the states' rates. When we went into production for that, we try to keep an eye on that. It's all over the place in terms of the different populations of the counties and what they charge and so on. But we were, prior to this revision, at 10 and 3, we were the lowest. Some other counties too, but that was the lowest in the state.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, I guess we can vote on it. So we have a motion and support. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. The one item that we added is number 7. I just passed out to you the 2021 schedule of meetings for the board, approved back in January 2021. We made one adjustment to that recently, right before the Thanksgiving holidays. And so we have, of course, the Christmas, New Year's holiday coming up. And so if we're going to make any changes and eliminate those, we either can do it at the full board now, or we can do it 1 week before, which doesn't give staff and individuals who have to come here really any time to plan the holiday leave. So I would recommend, like we've done in the past years, that we cancel the 2023 Committee of the Whole, the December 23rd Committee of the Whole and the December 30th full board, the 2 following right before Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. And then this gives everybody a chance to plan accordingly.
I'll support that. I will be out of town on the 10th or 16th, so get that board, but I support the other 2 also.
Okay, it's been moved and supported. Any other discussion on that calendar?
I just have a question for Quentin regarding this. If we cancel both those meetings, is that going to present you guys with issues?
On the 30th, we need to be able to pay the bills.
You have your authority motion.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we
Okay.
just recently passed that motion, so it really should.
We'll just enter them into the record
Right.
after the first of the year.
I have a department head meeting next Wednesday. I'll bring it to all the department heads, so if they do have an issue that they need to be, brought before the board, they need to have it on the calendar.
For the full board.
Yep, before that meeting. Actually, you know what? Might even be better if we do cancel those 2 meetings, I'll put an announcement out today that they can have it in for the next agenda meeting for Cal, so it can be processed on the full board, which would be the 16th.
That would be a real good idea.
And then we'll just button up all issues and just let them know that there will not be another opportunity to get something before the board before the end of the year.
And then, like I
There's
said,
always-
we already passed that other motion recently, and we'll just enter everything into the record in our organizational meeting.
Okay,
There's always an opportunity for a special meeting if we absolutely have to, but
Yes.
understood.
This gives everybody a chance to plan their holiday. Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. That brings us on to the draft motions, and the first one is the Properties Committee, and Brian, if you'll take that, please.
Recommend Approval and repair of the remodeling of rooms A147, B124, and B125 at Community Mental Health, not to exceed $21,475. And the purchase of 6 cubicle stations, furniture and installation, not to exceed $12,378.30. Total cost of the project not to exceed $33,853.30 at no additional cost to the county general fund.
I support that. This is a place where in business, you try to kind of consolidate and move people in. This particular procedure here is doubling up instead of people having individual offices, going to be doubled up in offices so that you get some privacy for community health, which is increasing. They can discuss privately rather than having somebody on top of them. So it's a good move for everybody.
Am I right in assuming we don't have copies, there were competitive bids for this?
Yes.
Yes, and it's, right, and it's an internal thing, so it's not a remodel.
Low bids?
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions, comments, discussion? Hearing none, we have a motion of support. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Then we have 2 pages worth of draft motions from the ARPA committee, November 18th. And while you're on a roll, buddy, you want to take those too?
Okay, number 1, from the ARP committee, I would actually like to postpone that. I had some discussion with one of our other commissioners, and he really wanted to have some input on that, and I don't see this as being a pressing issue. So I would recommend that we just shelf that for right now.
We're going to shelve it. We're going to put a date for the future out there. We just wanted to
We'll
shelve it.
just bring it back.
We're taking it off the table at this point.
Yeah, just until after the holiday, we get through the holidays and we get our full board back. That's right.
Of course.
And I'll just interject for the Congresswoman's information. For the public, they've heard this before, but because we have a process of transparency to keep our public informed of what we're doing. But on the ARPA dollars, working with the Michigan Association of Counties and them working with our legislature, we want to make sure that we get the absolute most bang for our buck to the public on these dollars. And we're working with our legislature on matching funds with the state for the real big projects, the broadband, the water, sewer, and things of that nature. But in the meantime, we know that there are small, no-brainer capital improvement items that every time we're able to use those dollars and they fall within the criteria and save our capital improvement dollars, that saves our taxpayers. That burns some expense going down the road. We felt, and we publicly said many times as a board, we were not in support of, we're a very conservative board, and we were not in support of the large amount of dollars that came out of Washington. But by God, if that happened, and our taxpayers in our county and their children, probably their grandchildren, are going to be burdened with that expense, we want to make sure that they get the most longest lasting bang for their buck. So these items that you see here are small capital improvement items, but they help bring us, we've not had the ability at local government to be able to take care of a lot of our capital improvement needs for quite a while during these rough times, especially coming out of the Great Recession. We still really have not caught up yet with the way the taxation and funding of local governments falls under the state of Michigan's structure. So this gives us the opportunity to kind of catch up a little, reinforce the capital investments that our taxpayers have made in their public property, the things that they own. Hopefully it'll stay good, like I say, for their future generations. So when you see these small items here, these were no-brainers while we're working on the bigger ones. We're in no rush to do that. We plan on spending every dollar that we can, but we also want to do it wisely. So
I can tell you the Congresswoman has echoed your sentiment and
Yes.
doesn't like this rabid spending. But if it's going to happen, then Michigan being a donor state ought to see some of the benefit. So,
And keep that in mind as far as this, we're very conservative, and over the years, they've done a
Yes.
very good job on being conservative with the money in this county, and we put ourselves in a pretty good position.
that's
We're
great.
also keeping in check that we don't get beyond a certain point, because all things coming from the government seem to come with strings later on. And so we're keeping an eye on that, so we don't get in a bind that we can say no. And the
Stay-
people, protect people's money in this county, so.
Yeah, I don't wanna.
Stay in communication with our office as well, because we keep an open line of communication with the state so that we, especially where broadband's concerned, so that we can be up to date on it. So we're happy to
We
facilitate.
appreciate that relationship, thank you. So
Hey.
Brian, I didn't mean to interrupt, I wanna make sure you
Could I-
go to the context before we go.
Could I ask one follow-up question on that comment?
Yeah, I opened it up, so sure.
You made the comment that Michigan's a donor state. You want to explain that a little bit more? Not everybody may understand what you mean.
We send more money to the federal government than we take back. So our money gets redistributed to other states.
How's that work?
We've been like that, for example, for roads. for a
Despite
long,
all
long
of
time.
what our economy has gone through over these years, we're still donor.
Okay, so with that context, I didn't mean to interrupt, but now that we have some context, if we go back to the individual motion.
I do have a question on number one, postpone that, but am I right in assuming that our controller is still going to work on what I would call putting some structure to the concept so that when we move forward, we've got a little bit something concrete?
When the board is ready to have that discussion, I will be prepared to discuss the finer details of the program.
Because there is a time element to wanting to get this started. We're going to do it.
Mr. Chairman, would you like me to read these individually, or does it?
Yeah, I, again, just for transparency, because these are all those dollars, so I appreciate that, Brian, thanks.
So I move to recommend approval for Buildings and Grounds Department to proceed with replacement and installation of new boiler system at the county-owned DHHS building at the cost not to exceed $120,000, which includes the purchase of 2 boilers, repiping, and installation to be paid from Fund 281 as a capital investment to the public facility and to improve air quality for health and safety of the public and staff.
I support that.
As of yet, for this, we don't have bids that we're accepting. We're out getting bids.
No, they're included.
We do have, okay, not in our packet, but, okay, so we do have low bids for that.
I think there's
Yes.
some in it.
Or is it state?
State contract.
State contract.
I actually had a quick question on this one as well. When I was reading through it, I took a note. This 120,000, is this for, are we paying the full amount as the county through ARPA?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is there any, and I'm just asking this because I guess I'm a bit of a bias against DHHS over there with some of their things.
It's our building, Brendan.
Yeah, I understand. I was just wondering if we reached out to say, ask if they were gonna contribute a little bit to, if not, if that's not possible, I get, I just.
Yeah,
It's our
I've been
building.
frustrated with their little yank and pull of the
It's-
police and stuff, so.
It's our building, and quite frankly, that particular building has one boiler that is broke currently. So it's operating at one boiler, which if that goes down, we could have a much bigger problem. So that was kind of the urgency of getting this one done.
Yeah, I understand. I was just curious if DHHS, they might have offered, I don't know. Never know, they might just offer to help pay us, for these boilers. So thanks for clearing that up. I know.
So that's been moved, and was there support?
Yes.
Okay, it's been supported. Any other discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That one carries.
Okay. The third one is recommended approval for low quote on authorizing Buildings and Grounds Department to purchase straight blade plow and mount kit from Greenia's in the amount of $769.80 for use at the various county facilities and parks for health and safety for the public and staff, which will aid tourism to be paid from Fund 281. And just to give you guys a little background information on that, we did order that one side-by-side with the plow and the salter on it. We do not know when we are going to get that. So we're taking one of the other side-by-sides that we purchased and putting the plow on it. One will have a backup for, if anything breaks on the other one, and two, we'll just have a second one, that we'll be able to use at the parks and stuff like that for a plow. So, but in the meantime, we'll have something to use while we're waiting for that one to come in.
And by park, I'm assuming you mean General Square?
Correct.
Because
Trzaskowski's
closed, exactly, yeah. And I was gonna ask, with this, increase of funds for things like plows and such, are we discussing opening Trzaskowski up during the winter time, like I know it had been in the past?
We have not discussed that at all.
Okay.
So maybe an option now we have this, because that's going to be.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of different things in with why it was closed off before, but just curious if that was in the discussion or not.
Okay, we have motion support on that item. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Okay, fourth one, recommend low quote in authorizing buildings, grounds, parks department to purchase a 2022 PJ trailer, 20-foot, 14,000-pound GW flatbed trailer from DNR Trailer Sales in the amount of $5,973 for the use to transport the various county facilities and parks, which will aid in tourism to be paid from Fund 281. Basically, it's a flatbed trailer to haul the tractor with the front end loader around, haul the side-by-sides around. The trailers that they currently had were in really poor shape. And quite frankly, this was the low quote, and it was, they actually had it available, which in today's world is a very big factor.
And I support that one.
Motion and support. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Fifth one, recommend approval to accept low quote and authorize buildings, grounds, parks department to purchase 2021 PJ 14,000-pound dump trailer from DNR Trailer Sales in the amount of $11,973 for the use of transport brush, dirt, stones, and other various materials from county facilities, which will aid in tourism to be paid from Fund 281. It's a dump trailer. We'll use it for a million different uses. Can't believe we didn't have one before.
Yeah, I'm surprised myself, and I support that one.
If you're surprised, I'll re-echo my comment. Lack of dollars.
And we've got competitive bids.
Yes.
Yeah, those are in here.
Hearing no further discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Number 6, recommend to accept low quote from Bro Carpet to authorize replacement of carpeting in prosecuting attorney's office at a cost to not to exceed $19,870.02, as well as front of court offices at a cost not to exceed $13,846.42, which includes removal of old carpeting and installation of new carpet for health and safety of public and staff to be paid from Fund 281.
Support.
We did have several quotes on that, and this is actually a local company.
And they've been around a long time.
The need for it was, Susie, we had ripped carpet.
It was they actually had done some tests on that carpet and it was pretty disgusting, I guess.
And they used to have,
Health issues.
yes, they used to have floor covering business. If you get to a certain point, you can clean it all you want, nothing else is gonna go and separate to the back. A lot more chemical germs come out of that stuff, so it's in dire need of replacement.
Yeah, as far as in general, our carpeting plans for the building, do we have other places that are in the pipe as well?
Yes.
Okay. And then I think we discussed this before, but we're looking at both carpeting and tiling, right?
Yes.
Special public, yeah, special public hearings. Thank you.
Any others? Been moved and supported. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Number 7, to authorize Buildings and Grounds Parks Department to purchase 2 replacement Ford pickup trucks through state bid price program at the cost of $27,921 each, total of $41,229.10 to be used at county facilities and parks for safety and public and staff, which will aid in tourism to be paid from Fund 281.
I support that, but do they have these in stock?
I don't know if they have them in stock. They thought they could get them relatively quick. Little background, you've seen our buildings and grounds / parks department driving around in their 15 to 20-year-old 2-wheel drive pickup trucks. These are regular cab 4-wheel drive, nothing super fancy, but they are surely well in need of them, and being 4-wheel drive, I think, will let them get around a lot easier. Especially, you know, when you're trying to go to a park that's closed for the winter, not necessarily plowed out.
One thing I'd mention is, even though this is state price, we do have a priority for buying local. You'll notice.
And these are being purchased from Milnes Ford of Lapeer. Typically with our vehicles that we purchase, they are bought in this county.
I think the other equipment,
Not
we lean that way
particularly,
too.
not particularly one particular brand, because there's Ford, Chrysler, and Chevrolet. And it seems like the different departments kind of prefer one over the other, and it kind of works out well. It kind of splits it up.
And the other equipment that we've purchased, we also look at that issue of local
And
or
we-
state versus
we
out of
We
state.
certainly try to buy everything local as we can.
Okay, we have a motion support on that last item. Further discussion?
Just another quick question, on all these new vehicles and equipment that are built, by buildings and grounds. Are we gonna have the staff capabilities to actually, use all these, vehicle equipment? Cause I know that's been an issue over there as well, it's just, they have to have adequate staff, so.
And in the near future, I would think that we're certainly looking at how we could add one more person to their staff as well without the budget hurt.
Thank you.
Okay. No further? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That brings us down to whether or not we have any ad hoc committee updates. Anyone have anything? Not hearing anything, we'll move on to, if there's anything for fiscal planning, budget discussion, Quentin?
I do. I'd like to mention that we're moving forward with the broadband studies. And so I've met with Merit. I attended a broadband summit, and through that, I learned about the Pathfinder program. Pathfinder program through Merit is a step-by-step guide for communities wanting to move forward with broadband. And the first two steps of any broadband project is one, your feasibility study. What is the number? That's what the feasibility study tells you. What resources you have, what resources you need, and then the gap is usually how much it costs. So that number is identified in the feasibility study. We will need that no matter what direction we go. So moving forward with getting quotes and figuring out a way for a feasibility study to be completed. After that is pre-engineering studies, meaning now we know what it costs, right? Now we actually need to price out the equipment, conduit, excavators, dirt, backfill, so on and so forth. So that is step two. But we are moving forward, getting those preliminary studies done. I'll get some quotes put together, and then I'll bring that up at future ARPA meeting. Yes.
When you get that information, am I right in assuming they're not just giving you one total figure? They break it down into options for projects that you can
Of course.
work on? So,
Of course, because what's going to happen is if somebody saw the total project, it'd just be massive sticker shock, right? Because you have to throw it all in, and then you need to piecemeal about what you need, because there's conversations that have to happen with the ISD. Where's our fiber at? There's conversations that have to happen with dispatch, the sheriff's department. Where's our internet come in? Because you don't want to overbuild, right? So
will they be recommending those steps, how you ought to take them?
that is the Pathfinder program. So it's essentially a consultant that walks aside of you who have done this and said, this is step one. These are the approval processes. These are the permits. These are the things that you have to do. And they walk us through. So this is in a technical area where we need the experts to tell us, what steps need to be taken. In addition to the broadband piece, you might be familiar with Lapeer County engaged with Connect Michigan for a broadband study. Overwhelming response was great. We had over 2,000 plus respondents to the survey. And overwhelmingly, they said, we don't have what we need, whether it be business, government, healthcare, residents. We don't have the internet that we need in Lapeer County. Okay. However, that survey is taken at 100,000 foot view. Because what some people don't know is, and this might be interesting to learn, that in the telecommunications world, it's okay, Commissioner. In the telecommunications world, if your home receives internet, right, it stretches out, your radius stretches out per mileage as a covered area. So you wonder why at the end of your road, I don't have internet, but my neighbor does, right? Well, it's because through an ISP provider, they're saying this is a covered area and you should have service, right? And so there's really no need for us to build out any additional infrastructure, because we have service, or you should have service. That's at the 100,000 foot view. What I'm proposing is, through the Merit Pathfinder program, we go to the granular view. We go to per parcel. I want a per parcel map, light on or light off. If it lights on, they have internet access. And then what kind? Is it fixed wireless? Is it fiber? Are you blasting it from a satellite? What is your internet situation? Then as a whole, we will see every parcel in Lapeer County and say, this is the true story. And then we'll build the fiber mapping from that. Okay. I think that's the right way to do it. Okay. We don't want to miss homes here.
It will also help with future growth for subdivisions and things like that. So having that kind of map would be great.
Once that information is compiled, I can tell you from my economic development background, that is a developer's dream, is to know, where is my infrastructure? Where does my water lines go? Where are the electrical lines, right? Where are the sewer lines? And where is the broadband, right? So we get the map, we position ourselves to be more competitive for any kind of future growth. Okay. So that's the broadband update. That's where we are today. Okay. Also want to let you know that wage study RFPs have been responded to. We received 3. We've narrowed them down. We have 3 contenders, and I'm looking through those right now. What I'm following up with the 3 consultant firms is that I would like to see an actual report that's generated. They can redact the names, they can redact what they got to redact, but I want to see the end product. What will we receive? And that is going to go into our decision making about who would be the best candidate, because we don't need fluff, right? We don't need the extra stuff. We want to know the true story of the wage study, and a report summary or a report example will tell us that. So that's what we'll go off of. So that's underway right now. I anticipate first quarter 2022 will be well underway and moving towards a report. Okay, I'll also be mentioning that during the department head meeting scheduled for December 8th. Last but not least, I just want to mention that one of our lieutenants, Lieutenant Inkster, okay, lost his father unexpectedly and suddenly. So I think it's just really important just to remember that we need to reach out. We need to reach out to our team as a whole. There's a lot going on socially. There's a lot going on politically and whatnot. That's all whatever. But, you know, we lost somebody because somebody on our team's affected right now in a very deep way. So if you know Andy, if you know the family, you know, in your prayers and just as you do, just reach out just to send a good word and a show of support, because that we need our lieutenants and we need our road patrol, you know, on point, and we need to make sure that they're emotionally sound and know that we care about them. So that is not business related, but is just as important. So I'd like to make note of that.
Really, thank you. I don't want to bring one up since you're bringing it up to another gentleman you saw in front of Abe. Been around the city and town for a long time. Awen Bennett passed away too, and a lot of people know him. So send your prayers to that family also. With everything else going on, there's a lot of hardship going on. So keep everybody in your prayers this year.
Any other budget items? Jackie? Britton, thank you. Appreciate the report, follow. Thank you. Audit motion, which is in front of you. Dial, do you want to take that?
I'll move the county road commission audit and the county fund audit to the controller's signature.
Support.
Okay, that's been moved and supported. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Henning,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Commissioner Zender,
Yes.
Commissioner Snyder.
Yes, so we approve expenditures of $2,582,237.59 of hard-earned taxpayer dollars. As I mentioned before, that's not necessarily all your local taxes. That a lot of that is pass-through money coming from the federal government, coming from the state government for the various programs that, rather than them running centralized out of DC or out of Lansing, we get the dollars to run a lot of these programs. But no matter where it comes from, I'll generate it right out of your wallet. So, hard-earned taxpayer dollars indeed. That brings us down to our second public time. Teresa.
Thank you. To wrap up our conversation with Commissioner Miller about fees and review and our revised schedule, I said Sand Lake County was at 20, it's actually Genesee County is 25, and 10, I should look at my book, and Sand Lake is 2010. So still both surrounding counties are higher than our new schedule. Tuscola will match ours. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else from the public for a second public time? Yes, sir.
Publicly, I'd like to thank the greatest person in my life, and that's my God. He answered prayer. I got a phone call at the back of the room. The store manager called me and said, seeing as how you applied for this, and I have to wait for corporate headquarters in Grand Rapids to reply, I will allow you to work without a mask, without a shot. I serve a great God. He answered that prayer. And just to let you know, that doesn't mean that the battle's won. I know I'm in a battle. So I just wanted to publicly tell you guys that that's the update that happened while this meeting was going on.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Yes, sir.
William Hamilton, Lapeer Township. As you go in your planning for next year, I'd like to request, just as a citizen in general, that you consider maybe adopting a hybrid schedule for your meetings. Alternate morning and late afternoon to allow more people to participate. We've seen across the state and across the country more and more people getting involved in their local and state government. And I think adopting a hybrid schedule to accommodate people who are working and can't come to the meetings in the morning be a good thing to allow more citizens to participate. So just wanted to ask you to take that into consideration with your board meeting schedules going forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's right.
Yes, ma'am.
Just being so frustrated with everything. I just had a couple more things. One thing, I did contact Representative McLean's office this week. So many videos and so many communications from the Australian people. I think as America, we need to be aware and we need to be alarmed, and I think we need to reach out to our Australian people. And I also called Stavenow's office and Peter's office and spoke with someone at your office. It was a very good conversation. The other two, of course, I got voicemail. But anyway, we need to stand up for these people. We reach out all over the world. We need to reach out to Australia. HB 5272 is a bill that has been introduced for unmanned photo radar to issue speeding tickets. HB 5272. So in other words, you are assumed guilty until proven innocent. It's wrong. This is just, I hope that you will look into it. I certainly do not support this. No one should have to, they're unmanned. And then the other one is, there's a convention for the GOP. And we have been asked to, if you're a part of the GOP, I personally am a part of, I'm an independent, but at their convention, they are asking the executive board, whatever, to do a hand count instead of using these machines. So if you think it's important, contact your GOP executive board and ask them at their convention that they do a hand count. They're going to use these Dominion machines. I think they should, and I think that they should do a hand count so that I talk about transparency. Thank you.
Any other public? Okay, hearing and seeing none, we'll close public time. I do not believe we have any executive closed session. Brings us down to final commissioner comments before the conclusion of our meeting. Brendan, we'll start with you.
Well, I'll just say what started to echo to, tragedy unfolded, and keep everyone in your thoughts and prayers, and keep in mind that even though the community is south of the border, many families attend that who live in the county and go to school of choice there. I know many even from the North Branch area. So, and I'm happy to say that it hasn't been politicized today, which I'm very happy about, because this is not the time for that. The other thing I'll just point out is that, in case you didn't know, yesterday, a judge in Louisiana, federal judge, has put a stay on the vaccination mandate for medical employees and Medicaid and all that. So that one has also been stopped for now. It's going to go through the regular process.
So that's to apply nationally?
Yep, that's applied nationally. So it's stopped for now on those as well. As far as local business mandates, nothing we can do. And in all honesty, if you know a local business that's doing that mandate on their employees, let them know. Let the people know. I mean, seriously, if they want to put that policy in, it's up to us, the people, to, not necessarily go out there and pick it or anything, but just don't go there. That's our responsibility as capitalists to say, hey, they're putting that in place. That's fine. I just won't patronize their business anymore. So maybe the manager was watching this meeting and all of a sudden I had a change of heart. I'd like to think that, everyone's watching, but I don't think that's the case. So, keep that in mind though. It's a local business and businesses want to do what businesses do, but it's our responsibility as patrons not to patronize them if that's the case. I'm very happy to hear more about the internet connection issues. If I could be involved in any way in that, because I have a feeling that my district in particular, probably Gary's as well, but maybe mine as far as a concentrated district probably has the highest rate of internet inability to get internet outside of satellite. So go ahead.
I was just going to make a comment. A little hidden secret about Clifford is with Rochester Gear, they have miles of fiber that runs in the city with preparation for that building to be developed. And so we have in Lapeer County, we have an extremely strong fiber backbone. Now we just need to tap it. And now we need to move it.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. And Clifford's not in my district, actually. It's neighboring over, but I do find it interesting because my little slice of the area, I don't think there's much internet in Columbiaville. There is a little bit to the south. There's virtually nothing in Otter Lake, and Deerfield's really spotty and rich. Good luck. So, I'd be very excited to get some expansion out there in those ways. I know that's what we're doing. So thank you for that. And if anything I can do to help that, would be great, because with internet, who knows? Otter Lake and Columbiaville could be the next Lake Orion, right? So at least I like to think that. And also, just to add on to the fact that, Lapeer has faced a lot of losses lately. We lost, as did A. Wayne Bennett, which is a big loss. Earlier, we lost Dan Ozentoski. So keep them in your thoughts and prayers. And we need more people to step up for Lapeer and be those champions as we're losing them. And yeah, that's what I'll end on. I'm excited for the program moving forward on internet. I'm excited about the programs moving forward on the Parks and Rec program. We need more investment there, because Lapeer could be a destination county for the up north community down to our south. So that's all.
Couple things. Do we have any meetings after ARPA or?
Nothing on the agenda, but we just need to. We can rendezvous if we rendezvous shortly after this meeting. We can establish that for ARPA.
Okay. Thanks to Teresa for.
She left.
Okay, for mentioning the courthouse gala on December 9th, and hopefully some people will take advantage of that opportunity to support our historic courthouse. The other thing I thought I'd mention is the Lapeer County Community Collaborative. Hopefully some people here should have gotten word that the collaborative is searching for a new coordinator. So the job description and a posting has been made for that. It's I think a 20-hour position.
Yes.
And it's being put out through the intermediate school district. We're looking for a person who will help us, particularly in the human service area, keep us coordinated. The Lapeer has had an exceptional reputation, has both, I think, improved our services and saved a lot of money by coordinating in a fashion that's probably quite different than, or certainly in degree is different than a lot of communities have done. This person has the opportunity to play a role in continuing what's been set forth for many years. I can't even tell you how many that would be, probably in the 20-year range. So a person should have a fair amount of experience with human services agencies, knowledge of how to coordinate people and projects. That is open now, and I think it goes until a suitable candidate is found. That's all I got.
Thanks, Tom. Rick?
Yeah, a couple things, but like you said, this thing that happened in Oxford the other day, it was heartbreaking for all of us. I broke down and cried. I don't know how you felt. I shop at Myers. That's my neighborhood. A lot of people in my district have children that hang out with the kids that hang out there. So prayers for that community. And you said they haven't made anything an issue. They have. Channel 7 did this morning talking about guns and the Attorney General talking about guns. This is not the time to talk about guns. This is the time to talk about prayers. The other night, the first day it happened, that just an hour and a half, 2, they're still going on. Mother on TV, one of the children of that high school, she said to the community, we need to bring prayer back into the schools. That's what we need, our communities. It's a local. People said things don't, that's all over there. It's local issues. It's your backyard. Our kids are critical race theory. They said it's not teaching when they are in this county, but because they have it in different words and different phrases of putting the stuff into the way, controlling our children. Best thing that ever happened was COVID because parents woke up. And now we got our Attorney General going as a domestic terrorist because parents are standing up against their children's rights. So it gets very heated. And I'm glad you showed up today. I asked her to come here before. This is the first I've seen anybody come to the meeting outside when you introduced the gentleman. I haven't seen him. But the people like to hear from you. That was good you brought that. And you're doing a great job. I'm not knocking it.
I'll make a habit of it. We get her up here when she can too.
But when they come and speak, these people are more and more you're seeing across this country, not just in Lapeer County or whatever. People are coming forward. They're tired of seeing what's going on. You heard about Australia. That was our sister country. They look like us. I have some personal friends down in Florida that take care of my property down there. They're from Argentina. 25 years ago, this happened there. They speak the same language. They used to think just like us. They were a vibrant country. That's how fast this country can change if we don't take hold of it. I've asked our leaders in this state, this county, Congress, senators, state reps, the people are asking for us to stand up for them and be their leaders because they put us in charge to do that. I put in a few resolutions. People say they don't matter. They do matter because it tells the people that we stood up for them. But I'm not hearing it from our Congress. Everybody wants to go with business as usual. Let's concentrate on 2022. So I try to put as you heard earlier, a resolution for an audit. And I've been calling this for a long time. I personally would have been downtown. I had COVID a year ago and I couldn't make it downtown. Otherwise I'd have been there. But there are people I know that were there. We talk about not locking up Americans. I'm going to tell you right now, we have 36 citizens in the United States, parents, grandpas, grandmas, that are sitting in prison in Washington, D.C. right now without even getting their full rights because they stood up for their country. In America today, it's shameful. We're a laughing stock of the world. This election was stolen, but we don't have our leaders wanting to stand up to believe that. And all the people are asking is, let's just do a full audit of the machines, let those guys be held accountable like our clerks and our canvassers are. So pass it on to her that we're not passing on 2022 if we can't solve 2020. And it has nothing to do if you're a Republican, Democrat, Independent, or you just don't believe in anything. This has to do with every American's rights. And we're not demanding it. And we need to get that to Congress. We need to get that to state reps and senators to demand it. We were supposed to have 26 attorney generals last Tuesday at the Supreme Court filing this lawsuit. And there's detail of fraud and stuff that would happen in this country. Nothing to do with the machines. They would change this election, put it back on course. Nothing to do with machines, but they're not looking at it. They backed out at the last minute. Our attorney generals, our Congress back out. Why? Who's forcing them to back out? Who's forcing them not to stand for the people? So I hope you can relay that to them. That the people are demanding, including myself. We're asking for just the proper investigation. Nothing more, nothing less. But when you have our American citizens held in prison in the worst condition than Gitmo, and we don't stand up and pray for them, we got a problem. And that's why these kids are acting up at school. That's why you're having depressions all over the country. Depression's up, suicide's up. It's not the gun's fault. It's not the kids' fault. It's the politicians' fault for allowing this to go on and not straightening this stuff up. They quit playing games with politics. Let's get to business so we get back to what the people are looking for. Let's get churches back in. Let's do what we're supposed to be doing. It's crazy, but I would tell you to have somebody in your office watch. We had a motion for the mandate on November 4th. Go watch it was a 4-hour meeting we had here in this county, one of the longest we've had. People were speaking out like crazy to do a resolution to stand up against the mandate. And you just heard this gentleman come up today and lose his job. Well, he got it back for the moment. It's not over. We have people in this county on December 4th. And is that still going through on December 4th? No, they stopped that. Well, I'm glad to hear that CMS stopped it.
The court stopped.
The court stopped it. But the President of the United States and his press secretary told the businesses to continue doing that. We need that order to stop all. You're going over their privacy rights. They're saying we need vaccines. Get a vaccine, and our people in this county, and I have more friends right now that have been in the hospital, they're sick with COVID after they got the vaccine. Doesn't stop you from getting COVID. It doesn't stop you from spreading COVID. So what is it supposed to be doing for you? It's supposed to keep you from getting it as bad. I've had some severely almost on deathbed. We're not talking about treatment. We're talking about vaccines later. Treatment is a very important thing to what you can do to keep yourself in the hospital, but we're not talking about it. Our health department says it's on their website. It's not. They're not talking about vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc. They're not talking about quercetin. They're not talking about any of that. And they briefly mentioned ivermectin. Remdesivir is not a great product, but we're using it like crazy in our hospitals. And I just listened to a nurse, just lost her job over the holidays. Ascension is still doing that, Ascension hospitals. She lost her job. She's a mother of 3. Been doing this for 15 years. She works in ICU and all the different departments. She's handled all the cases of COVID. And like she said, in the beginning, they didn't have any way to take care of the patients. All she had was she prayed with each one of her patients. We have to get back to some reality here. We shouldn't be at a point where we're praying for patients. We should be at a point where we're treating patients. You used to go to a doctor and you were sick and he gave you pills. Now he tells you to go home until you get worse. We don't want to wait till you get worse to get treated. You need to be treated today. And it's because our leaders are not standing up and getting out, voicing their opinion. Well, I'm passing a bill. I got a bill going. We don't care about bills. We don't care about lawsuits because they're down the road.
With all due respect, the Congresswoman has been very vocal about being anti-mandate. She's written letters. She's done what she can
And we
for her
apologize.
position. I mean, I will tell you, she's very much in line with no mandates.
Okay, and we want to hear, and I'm glad you said that, because people aren't hearing that. They're out there fighting on their own. They want their leaders to come out and tell us, this is what we're doing. We don't agree with it. And we're standing side by side with each other.
She's been vocal on the Hill as well as on any media outsource that she can get into, so.
I'm just saying over general. I'm not talking about her. She's doing a lot of voicing, but I do know that they're all backing down on this audit. It's not over yet. People are still requesting these things. These are things that are still going on. But it's not all about that. It's all, like they said earlier, all the diversions that's going on in this country, all the diversions. It keeps your mind off what's really happening.
Point of order.
But
I'm sorry to do this, but normally we don't have anybody in the audience reacting to what commissioners are saying. And again, I guess I remind commissioners that this period is generally for reporting on groups that you're meeting with,
and
other
but this affects our constituents in South Wales and March. So, but I'll stop there. But you got the gist of it. We all need to stand up and pray. All this stuff has to come together. We all have to take care of each other right now. So that's all I'm trying to say.
Right?
Well, I'd like to echo the whole Oxford thing, how sad that is, and about having prayer in school. And how about the parents being accountable for what their children do? It starts at home, folks. If the parents aren't doing a good job, gonna have problems. And I just wanna remind everybody with the holiday season coming up, everybody gets in a hurry. Be nice to one another. Be caring for those people that maybe have things going on in their life that you don't know about. Just be nice. Everybody have a great holiday season.
Thank you for those comments, Frank. And thank you for your opening prayer, Niall. I think that was an important reminder in times like this when we clearly have deep wounds. There still is a guy. Now is certainly a time for prayer, and now is certainly a time also to reach out to each other, especially during this holiday season. I only have one thing I just want to make an announcement, a public announcement. You can put it in the record if you want, but I will not be seeking I will not be seeking re-election to a 11th consecutive term. 2022 will be my final year. That'll be 20 years here with an additional 23 years of public service and a police career. I feel like the time is now. And I have personal and private reasons for it, but it was never intended to be a career, that's for sure. Not 20 years, that's for sure. I can remember me and Dial sitting up here, and we both started in our term in 2003, and how excited we were to be first-time grandparents. And I've got news yesterday. I got my 9th one on the way, and raised 5 sons in a wonderful Lapeer community. Everybody's scattered all over the 4 winds of the country now, so. But the seat, the office is bigger than the person. And I wanted to make sure that I give enough time for any individuals in the district that are thinking about what it'd be like to sit up here and serve. I never had any aspirations to go any further than county government, because truly this is the government that's closest to the people. And when you get any higher than this, you're dealing with special interests, and you're dealing with, I don't know, I think this is a very Americana form of government. I would highly recommend it. Like I said, I was thinking of 1 term, and then my community wanted me to run again, and I'm overwhelmed by having the support of, I think it's a record, at least for my central district, to have 10 consecutive unchallenged terms. Like I say, it was not intended to be that way, but it's intended to be public service. And so if you go into it with the right reason to serve the public, it's a great opportunity. And I also want to make sure I give the board the opportunity as well. We're 2 meetings after this one now away from what will be our next organizational meeting in January. So I think there's some important decisions to be made as far as chairman and vice chairman. I know this seat that I'm sitting in, a vice chairman, I've always believed should, when possible, be a grooming position for a chairmanship. So I want to, like I said, make sure you guys understand my tenure is coming to an end. It's been a true pleasure, and I still look forward to serving my district for the next year. But again, any interested individuals in the district, you have the opportunity now to talk to your family over the Christmas holidays and say, what do you think about me doing this? And it can be demanding, because it's kind of, our activities are varied all over the place. Day meetings, evening meetings, afternoon meetings, weekend meetings, whatever, but it's just a great way to serve the community. So that's all I have. If there's anything else, One more motion would be in order.
Motion to adjourn.
We're adjourned.